Welcome to Life by Design. I'm your host, Robyne, and I am thrilled to welcome you to this space for real conversations about how we live, how we show up day in and day out, because the quality of our life is shaped by our habits. What we do in ordinary time allows us to be extraordinary. We can unpack what it takes to truly live well and be well in real life. Welcome to Life by Design. And I'm just so excited that you're here. On today's episode of Life by Design, I had the opportunity to have a conversation with Justin Mize. Now, he is a high performance coach. He also is a freestyle motocross expert, somebody who is just like, oh my gosh, living big, bold, dream life, who also has experienced some adversity and some setbacks. And in our conversation, Justin is super candid about how he has built a comeback, how he is able to take lessons he's learned on his bike, bring them into other places and spaces. And I am so excited to share this conversation with you because there's this genuineness about Justin that, gosh, it is contagious. And he brings such clarity and energy and good intentions to the work he does. His books are terrific. I'll link those in the show notes for you. If you are looking for some kind of just insights for perspective, Justin has them for us today. So stay tuned to our next episode. Justin, welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited that you're here today.
I'm just as excited, maybe more excited. It's not a competition, but I was pretty giddy. I was pretty giddy this morning for sure.
Oh, well, thank you so very much for being here. And again, so as you know, I'm a huge fan of your work, and I mean, like all of it. Like I have our peak performance pyramid. I've gone through that, my performance Bible, performance matrix, which happens to be one of my favorites. And then this one was my unexpected, oh my gosh, the FMX Bible. I'm like, I didn't even know I needed to know this much about the X Games.
Of course.
Yeah. And again, I'm just so appreciative to be able to have this conversation with you today. And would you mind just giving our listeners just a wee bit of a snapshot of who Justin is as this high performance coach and a little bit about your story?
Definitely. Well, I'm actually located in Austin now. I had my upbringing difficult time in West Texas and transitioned from, you have the book, from freestyle motocross, which was the highest and lowest of my life, which you're probably familiar with. And then used all my experience and certifications to migrate to Austin, where West Texas had motocross, but it didn't have the social life, the events, the nature, anything like that. So migrated over here, and now I have a lifestyle that I didn't know was possible. There's like still things like popping up. Austin is just a super fun city, and now I just use my education and experience just to be able to help other people. So it's been super cool. It's been super cool.
And watching your journey as a high performance coach while you still are like, it's like this parallel experience. Like you yourself are still growing, like evolution, like evolving. And it's so amazing to watch. And also you're helping people along the way, which I think is just an amazing way to be of service for other people.
We're both in the same business. I mean, you showed off your books. I have yours also. And then Of course. And then I just realized just a day before yesterday that you also have it on Spotify for like the audio. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So that's going to be my next time I'm in the gym, or I got a car ride next week. So that's going to be you're going to be monitor, like giving me the commentary on my drive for sure.
I love that. So Justin, first of all, the degree of like, I like to think of bravery and courage to be it's like for how you ride and how you like compete and what you do. Like even watching your videos, like dude, like you're intense. Like that's scary. Like you are defying like human nature that would be like, don't do that. And you lean in, like you're all in. So how did you get involved in riding like that?
It's funny. It's actually my dad's fault. I I grew up doing like the football, baseball,
Yeah.
like all the ball sports. And when that wasn't going on, I just played video games all the
Fair.
time. And my dad wanted me out of the house because his upbringing was just softball all the time. Him and his dad, they were big national softball players,
Mhm.
and I couldn't catch the same ball,
Yeah.
no pun intended, as he was throwing. But so he, as a hobby, he did like trail riding, like
Mhm.
dirt bike, motocross, trail
Yeah.
riding. And so when I was like 13, 14, Santa brought me a
Mhm.
motorcycle. And it was funny because I hated it at first because it took a lot of coordination and like pulling in
Yeah.
the clutch and gas and the clutch, the
Yeah.
shifting, all that. And I didn't like it. Him and my mom thought I was just going to be cute, like riding trails.
Yeah.
And then I saw the X Games on TV. I'm like, oh my gosh. And it just like it just shifted me because I was just like,
Yeah.
man, it was just I really like, I mean, mainstream sports 100%. I mean, I still watch them
Mhm.
when they're on TV at the gym. But I really like the aspect of just like the style, and just it's kind of niche,
Yes.
and it's just very different, just pushing yourself to a level that's it's very almost theatrical,
Yes.
instead of, just making a great catch or being able just to throw the ball as hard as you can. And so the plot twist was, instead of trail riding, I started doing the freestyle motocross and
Yeah.
wanted to start doing little baby jumps, and it escalated to backflips and double
Yeah.
backflips and as many tricks as I could without getting getting hurt. So
Right.
then that's when my mom wasn't on board, and then my dad was kind of perplexed because he started
Yeah.
me, but didn't like the direction I went with it. So it was
Fair.
there's worse addictions, but that was the
Yeah.
addiction I chose.
Yeah. And I love that here you are kind of figuring out like your own way, right? So you grew up in a, great family support, they have this great exposure to lots of sports, which I think is so important for our young people that they get exposure to lots of different sports. And then you find your thing, you see that on TV, you get inspired, that little spark, activates in you and you're like, yeah, I want to do this. And what does it take? So this is what I'm really curious about. So our human condition, right? Our evolution, our human condition would say like there's a degree in which we push ourselves and then it would have those alarm bells going off that would be like, "Hey Justin, this is dangerous," right? Or "Hey Robyne, like careful." And there's something about elite performers and athletes like yourself that it's not that you don't have that system. And I think that's a big misconception. People are like, "Oh, they just don't feel fear." No, you like I believe athletes I've worked with are like, no, they feel the fear and they do it anyway. So when you are going for your first backflip on literally a motorcycle, when you are doing a double, when you literally like leave your body and only your hands are holding your handlebar, like all those red flags and alarms should be going off in your nervous system. Yet you've learned how to channel that. You've learned how to show up even when it's scary and dangerous and you perform, you achieve, you deliver. How does that happen?
So I've had several doctors and people say like, when are you going to quit? Like, what are you
Yeah.
doing? And it was cool. Like almost got emotional.
Yeah.
It was cool. I had this realization that like what I've learned cannot really be bought. Like Jeff Bezos,
Yeah.
Elon Musk, Bill Gates, they can't
Yeah.
like spend $1 billion and flip a motor, like have that experience. And it's like
Yeah.
something that I earned over time. And so, I mean, it's a lot of like nervous system training. I mean, you
Yeah.
have those alarms, but it's all like baby steps. Like I
Yeah.
didn't just go from, this beginner rider and then just trying to backflip,
Right.
to dirt. It's,
Yeah.
it's a gradual progression. And then once you have that foundation, it's like you have to, it's odd. It's learning how to listen intuitively, but also logically, because
Yes.
you have those alarms go off. You're like, is this my intuition telling me, or is this an actual real alarm? Because
Right.
there's things that look scary, but they're not. Like a roller coaster. You're
Yeah.
safe the whole time, but you got the jitters. And
Yeah.
so there's a time where you have to just pretty much trust yourself, but also just
Mhm.
be very logical. Like
Yeah.
statistically, I'm like 4 for 5 jumping in the foam pit, and on the bicycle, I was like 9 for 10. So you kind of have to just go like statistically, and then it's
Yeah.
really just learning how to like trust yourself. And that's
Yeah.
that's what was cool, because the motorcycle freestyle motocross was kind of like my tool to be able to like hone that and learn
Yes.
like what I'm capable of. Because if I didn't have that, I wouldn't have known what I could
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, you wouldn't know your limits, right? Like, I think that's so amazing. And what I know so much when I work with athletes like yourselves and others is that it's so much more than just the sport. Like your ability to regulate, your ability to trust yourself, to trust your body, that serves you in so many other life areas, like getting up on a stage, giving a talk, training people, doing sales calls. Like, dude, if you can flip off, on your motorcycle twice into dirt, like you can do a sales call, right? Like it's really like
Right.
not that deep. And so I just love how we find ourselves in different places and then we can use those skills, those gifts, and those talents in other areas of our life. And you've done that so beautifully. You've done that in your writing as an author, in your coaching. I just love how those skills from that you learn on a bike are transferable in different life areas.
That's actually my goal. It was like I progressed in motocross, and I didn't realize how to transfer or like
Yeah.
integrate those skills and that lifestyle to like work and relationships, and, managing like money and time and
Yeah.
all that. So that's what the mentality or the culture in action sports is like. It's very segregated, like
Yes.
categorized, like
Mhm.
departmentalized. And it's like, all right, we do this, but then we have this life, and
Right.
this is our. So I really encourage guys, and especially guys that I work with, like, hey man, like you can do this, and the discipline that you learned on this and the skills you did, now you can be able to like to transfer it over to just, I mean, just pretty much like you said. And it's funny because they don't have that connection like you just brought up. It's like they segregate it. So it's super cool.
So here you are having this again, the success in your sport. We're, learning skills that you, as you said, transferring how we figure out how you take this, essentially this identity, and we're putting in different places and spaces. And then all of a sudden, like your world just changed radically in a moment, in a minute. And again, I appreciate that before we hit record, you said you were okay to share some of your story because like Justin, like that's a really big component of how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, it's funny. I know people have way harder lives than me. I just don't. I don't know if this is bragging or not, but this is probably the opposite of bragging. I It's like I don't know anyone else that takes things so hard, is like
Mhm.
how I just took things very personally and
Yeah.
permanently.
Yeah.
And like, people can cry over spilled milk, and
Mhm.
I mean, I built my identity so much on that one aspect of
Yes.
freestyle motocross. And when I was in West Texas, I didn't really have like, I was a PE teacher,
Yeah.
elementary school. So, like you said, I tried to expose the students to like a lot of different sports, and
Mhm.
so they could kind of see what else was out there for them if they didn't, like what they were doing. But I really, I didn't know how to transfer everything that I learned from the motorcycle and
Yeah.
not build my identity just on that. And so
Yes.
once I would have an accident, I mean, I had a lot of. I've gone like 14 years, no, 24 years. PE teacher, not a math teacher, on just doing a lot of I mean, I've had a lot of injuries like since
Mhm.
2002 to actually 20 years to
Mhm.
2022. I had
Yeah.
my worst accident. I shattered my femur. It was just a fluke deal. A lot of the accidents are like your fault, so it's like,
Mhm.
okay, I know what to do. But when it was just a bike malfunction,
Wow.
and it was odd because it's like my identity just fragmented, just because it was
Yeah.
just I was freestyle motocross rider, and I didn't have the relationships. I didn't have
Yes.
like a sustaining career that I was like progressing in. I didn't
Yeah.
have, and like going back to your resilience model, like
Yeah.
that belonging, social
Yeah.
support, I didn't have that. I went from going back home, living with my parents,
Mhm.
and was on SSRIs,
Mhm.
and my value was based on motocross, and I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I didn't feel valuable. I didn't feel, I
And your
went,
recovery was intense. Like you could,
oh,
not to suggest that you're glossing over how significant your accident was, but it was substantive, Justin. Like you talk about it in your book where it was very, very serious.
I was on disability 2.5 years,
Yeah.
and it's interesting because like we see the physical and it's like, oh man, that must be tough. But like the mental and
Oh yeah.
emotional aspect is just, it's so unreal because I mean, my we would go to my doctor, my surgeon, and we were on disability for the physical injury, but my dad was like, tossing back and forth, like, do we need to continue the disability just like mentally? Because I was
Yes.
just not
Yeah.
in a healthy state. And
Yeah.
it was just, everything was fragmented. So I had
Mhm.
to, I tried, I did counseling for
Mhm.
years, like SSRIs, even
Yeah.
like psychedelics, like
Yeah.
everything I could think of to fix myself. And what was so cool is my parents were supportive through the whole process.
Mhm.
And what was like really powerful for me, like it wasn't per se like the counseling or the psychedelics or
Yeah.
the SSRIs, or it wasn't all the external things I guess you could think of, but it
Yeah.
was my initiative to fix myself
Yes.
that actually changed that. And it was because, I mean, being broken and having the strength and the resiliency to actually take a risk and go outside of your comfort zone is,
Mhm.
I mean, it's difficult in itself, but
Yeah.
that's what changed it. I mean, I really
Yeah.
was thinking, I think unconsciously was hoping someone could from the outside could fix me
Of
or
course.
get
Yeah.
my worth from, I would try to get my worth from like people or
Yeah.
organizations or status. I mean, I was just trying to get, fixed and
Yeah.
validated any other way. And until I
Yeah.
was able to understand like my worth apart from my performance, it was
Yes.
like, oh my gosh. So it
Yeah.
was, I mean, yeah, physically and mentally, it was just a trip.
Yeah.
It was gnarly. It was gnarly.
Yeah, and again, there's so much in your story and so many threads to pull on, and the pieces that really come top of mind when I hear you share that is that, any recovery, like a physical recovery, I know it's not linear, but there was a pretty clear kind of treatment plan in place, right? Like you have this catastrophic injury, you are building, you're healing, you're growing, you know what to do in the gym, you know what to do in rehab, like there's a plan and it's a clear course. The emotional and the spiritual and the psychological, there's no blueprint for that per se. And I just think what you talk about in your work and how I see you've integrated the physical with the emotional and the spiritual, it is such a testament to the fact that you figured it out bravely, courageously along the way. Like you were heroically hope filled that you just kept trying, that you just kept showing up. And I've met your dad. I know you have a great system, a family system, and I don't doubt for a second your mom is right there too. And but the reality, and there was something that a Navy SEAL actually said to me, Justin, this year that like blew my mind because obviously I have enormous amounts of respect for Commander Mark Devine. I was sharing about some of my own story of my own accident. And he interrupted me at one point and he said, you're giving credit to everybody else in that story. You're giving credit to the man who rescued you, to the hospitals, to your mom, your dad, all of this. And he said, Robyne, you know that you made yourself savable, right? And like Justin, man, like that was like, damn. He's like, you made yourself savable. Like you allowed yourself to be able to be in a position where you could receive help. You were able to do the work. And it was interesting after Mark said that to me when I was rereading a part of the passage of your book, that's what really came through for me as well, is that, like, Justin, you did the work. Like, you made yourself savable. You made yourself to be able to learn, to grow, to heal, to level up, to skill up. And now you're sharing your gift so generously with other people. It's really cool to watch.
I mean, that gave me chills. That gave me chills because
Yeah.
I mean, I tried everything I I could think of, and you're right, like, there like, the physical, you have, like, metrics like
Yes.
time and zones and percentages, and but, like, the internal, there's you don't have that. You don't know if you're it's not a tangible
Yes.
progress
Yeah.
like it is with the physical. That's why I love, like, working out. You see the weights, you see the times, you see the measurements. But that was actually why I wrote that peak performance pyramid, just because it's like the internal things that
Mhm.
you're progressing in, but you can't really track like with
Yeah.
metrics. And
Yeah.
so that's why I try to make tangibilize. I try to
Yeah.
make everything just as tangible and just be able to encourage. Because, like, I mean, I'm serious. Like, if I just see like just a little bit of improvement and even just encouragement. I mean, people just need to be encouraged.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy
Yeah.
because it's so many people aren't. And then when you get just like a little bit momentum, it really allows you to like compound and just
Mhm.
encourages you to be consistent. And
Yeah.
because it was tough. I couldn't like pinpoint like I did this and this happened. It was
Yeah.
just kind of like an accumulation of just being consistent and, like you
Yeah.
said, doing the work.
Yeah. You
And
put in the reps. You put in the reps, like, emotionally,
I
you
put
put in the reps.
I did
Yeah.
as many
Yeah.
as I
I
could.
love that.
I wanted to fix myself as fast as possible. I
Yeah.
was, desperate,
Yeah.
desperate. And that's like what you teach, and that's what people are able to, once they can understand and just realize they're not like the only one,
Mhm.
because I think that's another belief that, I had and a lot of people had, like, nobody understands, like, I'm the only one who feels this way. My
Yes.
experiences are only mine, so no one else can relate. And
Mm.
I think it just kind of boxes you into,
Sure does.
you know, it to, I guess, not let yourself be savable,
Yeah.
like you mentioned. And
Yeah.
I was shooting, what is it? Like when when the ship's going down, they're like shooting like the flares in the sky.
Yes.
I was doing that, but I was I just didn't. It's like you're so close to a breakthrough and you don't there's no finish line in sight
Yeah.
or like shot clock that's going
Yeah.
down. You're like, if I just last, I know you're not as
Yeah.
excited about cold plunges as me,
Yeah.
but like if it's like
Hey, 'cause you're a
y-
dude. It's better
I
for
know,
men. It's not good for
I'm a
women.
dude,
You're a
I'm a
dude. Like,
dude.
you're allowed to.
But,
Yes.
like, there, it's like, "Alright, I just got, like, 3 minutes. I just gotta last, like, 10 more seconds." But,
Yes.
like, when you're experiencing something like that,
Yeah.
there's no, like, finish line in
Yeah.
sight, and you
Yeah.
really just have to just, like, have faith and
Yes.
courage just to, like, keep going. And
Yes.
then when it finally happens and you hit a breakthrough, it's like, "Oh," it's like,
Yeah.
it's so worth it. And then like, in retrospect, I I tell myself this, it's like, you know, once like everything's, I'm going to be okay no matter what.
Yes.
But how do I want to show up for myself when things
Mhm.
are uncomfortable? Like, do I want to look back and be like, dude, I was like, flying off the handle. I was treating
Yeah.
people bad. I was
Yeah.
like negative and pessimistic. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be like that
No.
during the test,
Mhm.
if that's what you want to
Yeah.
call it.
Yeah, I love that perspective. Yeah, it's beautiful. And, one of the things that it makes me think about is, what you were saying about, like, if you're physically, we can measure everything. Emotionally, it's hard to see when we're going to have a breakthrough or when we will have alignment or integration or whatever it is that we're striving for, even just peace, right? Acceptance, like all of those kind of untangible and those things that we can't measure and hold. And what I think is so interesting is, as you said, there's no shot clock on mental anguish, right? Like, we don't know when we're going to have, let's say, a brighter day or an easier day or a moment where we get some reprieve. So it's harder. And that mental endurance is often the part where people stumble and we get stuck in old stories. We get stuck in labels and we kind of start to develop that mindset and that attitude that really holds us back. And one of the small little measures that I have learned along the way is, especially with emotions, is being able to say, am I handling this better than I would have yesterday? Am I handling this better than I would? And there are moments and situations, Justin, where I'm like, damn, I am handling that like so much better than I would have 5 years ago. Like 5 years ago, I would have been making horrible choices, and now I'm doing it. And then there's also, I think, a wee bit of grace where we also recognize our limitations with emotion. And what I mean by that, I shared the story recently. I walked into Jack's my baller, my youngest one is the senior. We walked into a pretty big tournament, and we walked in, and I couldn't figure out what this other school was chanting, but it just got really loud really fast when we walked in. And I recognized that they were yelling overrated. And they're like, overrated. And I was just like, what are they doing? And Jackson kind of looked at me and he's like, Mom, it's no big deal. And I'm like, are they chanting overrated about you? And in that moment, Justin, I literally said to the mom that was sitting beside me, I am not evolved enough right now to handle this. Like emotionally, I am not evolved enough as a parent to have 100 kids screaming at my kid. And anyway, so I texted Hunter, his older brother, who's off at university. And I'm just like, I am not coping in this moment. He's like, Mom, what's happening? And I said, we just walked into the gym. They all started chanting overrated about your brother. And I am not evolved enough. And I'm just really not coping right now. And Hunter said, let me talk to Jax. I put Jax on speaker. So of course I'm like holding up the phone awkwardly, Justin. And Hunter said, dude, are they chanting overrated at you? And Jackson's like, yeah, man, they are. And he's like, do you know their names? And Jackson's like, no, I have no idea who they are. He's like, but damn, they know who you are. And I was just like,
Damn.
yes, exactly. I was just like, oh, the
Yeah.
power of a 21-year-old brother, right? And the reason I share that, Justin, is the fact that as we learn and grow, we also recognize sometimes we might not have the right that moment might not be available to us to react how we want to, or our emotions get really big, but knowing when to ask for help and knowing who your people are, right? Like I knew in that moment, my anchor was to reach out to Hunter, even though he was, hundreds of miles away. In that moment, I knew he would be able to help manage this moment, and I'd be able to show up in a way that obviously like was, I could make it through. So again, I think part of the evolution with our emotional side is I would have never made that call 5 years ago, right? Like I would have stewed, I would have got myself in a tizzy or whatever you want to call it. So again, it's just learning different ways and knowing ourselves well enough to know when we need help and knowing what that looks like. And it's not going to be the same in every situation.
Yeah, that's so cool because the older brother, he like saw it like as a positive thing and
Oh
not
yeah.
like
Oh,
a
damn. Yes. Yeah.
negative deal. I think I heard Chris Williams say on his podcast, it was a quote from someone like, I'm not impressed with your booze because I know what makes you cheer.
Yeah.
And it's like I notice like if you it's like a intentional like seeing I mean, like you were saying, like with the attitude and the optimism, it's like,
Yeah.
how do I want to show up right now? Like if this is like the crowd's reaction or someone else's reaction, like, you know, it was cool that Hunter is your oldest one.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was cool that he like saw that as like a good thing instead of like
Yeah.
a negative thing,
Oh
you
yeah.
know?
Yeah. And
And
that
he
perspective, right? That perspective, powerful.
Yeah, and he was, like, in a state where he could like, he wasn't there and emotionally involved, so he was, able to be, like, more rational. Because I know,
Yeah.
like, when you're there and it's emotional and you're in it, I mean, it's easier to get, like, triggered and, like,
Yes.
reactive.
Of course.
So
Yeah.
it's I mean, that's just an awesome example just to, like, what you look for is kinda like
Mhm.
what you see,
Yeah.
unfortunately and
Yeah.
fortunately.
Yeah. Awesome. So just to change gears for a moment, Justin, when you are supporting people like with their physical well-being and all of these different things, is there a particular like athlete or person that you love to work with the most? Like, is there a type of person or a type of goal that you really love to work with people in that area?
I mean, I'm biased towards,
Yeah,
like, the freestyle motocross guys.
sure.
I but I love working with, motocross. And then I even have like a couple women that I'm working with just for like general fitness and,
Yeah.
whether it's like gut health, thyroid, but I also really like the physical's cool. And to me, that's just easy. That's like conveniently, it was like my default because my parents
Yes.
were, fit, and so I just, it was just easy for me, but I really like working, like, mentally with emotional and
Mhm.
identity
Yeah.
stuff. I have a client in Spain, of all places, and it was cool because he's younger than me, and he would experience similar reactions
Yeah.
instead of taking like responses. He was just reactive to like
Yeah.
the weather, his bike breaking,
Yeah.
just didn't trust himself, like what should I do? What should I do? And it was cool just because it's like, I think the education and stuff is great,
Mhm.
but when you've experienced it, you're like kind of in their shoes
Oh, for
and you
sure.
can you can help navigate the waters better.
Mhm.
And so that's just what's been really neat is just
Yeah.
like, I mean, it's so cool. Like when somebody wins that I'm working with, it's like I win. It's like
Yes.
I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's like it's so cool. Just and then also like just seeing them progress like, over the weeks or months. And
Mhm.
so it's just super, super rewarding. And I think that's, the most excitement that I get, in what I do. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. And what I see in what you're sharing and celebrating other people's wins, Justin, like, you were a PE teacher, right? You love progression. Like you love setting people up. Like it's this education is also continues to be part of your story, even though, it might not look the same as it did years ago in the classroom. Like you're making like life a classroom and you're just helping people learn the tools and the skills to be able to hit their goals, which is really remarkable. It's
Yeah,
very
well,
cool.
what made me wanna be a teacher, I was subbing after college, and this one girl, I think it was, like, in middle school, she was, like, needed to learn, like, the seasons of the
Yes.
year, and I, like, taught her, like, "Yeah, spring, summer,"
Yeah.
and then she, like, wrote it down, and she's like, "Okay, spring, summer, winter, the fall,"
Yeah.
and I was like and my grandma pointed it out, she's like, "She's gonna know that, like, forever
Ever.
just because you, like, taught her that." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh my gosh," like and so it was like, just a connection because
Yeah.
you don't realize, like Andy Stanley, he had a really good YouTube video, just kind of like the butterfly effect of just like,
Yes.
you know, every action and words you speak and things you do like has meaning and you don't really
Yeah.
see like the trajectory and the impact that happens over time.
Mhm.
And so instead of, working specifically with students, I had a guy from the gym this week. I told him what I'm doing. He's like, "Oh, it sounds like you're working with the adults that didn't pass your PE class now." I'm like, I I guess I am.
Oh,
I guess
that's
I
good.
am. I
Yeah.
know. I never made that connection either.
Oh, that's
And
good.
so yeah, so it's like, oh cool. So it's just really rewarding just to be able to I guess I mean, of course, you don't always see, like, the impact you have, and, people usually I mean, it's kinda people they don't really open up, like, "Hey, man, like, you
Yeah.
really, like, helped me in that area and stuff." I
Yeah.
mean, you don't really know, but when you, are lucky and fortunate enough to actually, like, see, like,
Yes.
your impact on people, it's like, "Oh, man, that's, like, so cool." So
Yeah.
it's almost like you have to trust yourself and have faith that,
Mhm.
what I'm doing the best I can
Yes.
and, not really be dependent on, if they're able to, you know, pick it up and
Mhm.
apply it or but just know that I mean, you're really only in control of like, what you can do. But when you see
Totally.
the result, it's like so much more
It's fun.
rewarding
Yeah.
for sure.
I wish other people understood how fun it is to cheer for other people. Like, I have, like, a very small
Mhm.
group of friends that are literally, like, my hype squad, right? Like, they're literally, like, people who and it doesn't even matter, Justin, if I say, like, the most unhinged thing, right? Jill is gonna back me up, and she goes, "Yes, sister, like, you are gonna" like, I just how fun it is to cheer for other people, and I think that's why we love to watch sports so much, obviously, like, we're cheering for other people, but it's easy for us to cheer for, well, it's not easy to cheer for the Cowboys as a Cowboys fan, but we try really, real hard, right? Like it's fun to cheer for people that we don't know. But one of the invitations that I often share with folks is like cheer for people you do know. Like get so excited about other people's progressions, like the little wins, the micro moments, because when you start, like, I think creating that energy and those relationships, and I love the fact that, people, I don't think of it as bragging when people call me up and be like, "Hey, Robyne, I just landed that huge client. Thank you for that little pep talk." And it's like, damn, yes, you did. Right. Like, of course you got that. And I really love the feeling of cheering for people in our own world, in our own systems. And again, I see so often, especially in corporate work, that the people at the top are collaborating and cheering for each other, and at the people at the bottom are competing, right? Like, people who get it, they are collaborators. They want you to win. They want everyone in your circle to win. Whereas the people that are at the bottom competing against each other, I've learned that those just aren't really my people, right? Like, that just doesn't feel good. That energy doesn't feel very helpful. And I just would love people listening to our conversation today to be like, asking yourself, like, where can you cheer so loud and encourage people in your everyday circles? And maybe it's clients, of course, but even just like, even cheering up, right? Cheering for our parent or our parents, or just really encouraging people to step into big bold dreams. And one of my favorite questions, Justin, that I love to ask people since the new book came out was, what are you hoping for right now? And asking people, because I believe everyone's got hopes and dreams on their heart. And after they kind of think about it, and just yesterday I was talking to a parent, and she's hoping that her daughter gets accepted into this particular college. And after she told me that, I said, my follow-up question, Justin, was, may I hope with you? And just for a minute, we just like held this moment. And again, it wasn't woo woo, it literally was science, in the sense of collective hope shared, we know actually outperforms a lot of other type of intervention programs. So it's just, yeah, that's what's coming top of mind. And I love that you get so excited for your clients, for your teammates. And I just think that's something we can bring into lots of different places in our lives.
100%, 100%. I think especially with, seeing like what you can encourage people doing. But I mean, even with myself, I had to see like the little things that I
Yes.
could encourage myself with. Like, I showed up today, I didn't sleep in, I
Yeah.
ate this meal right.
Yeah.
I went to the gym. Like it's not just so outcome based, but
Yeah.
I mean, seeing that for other people, but also just,
Myself.
having the self-compassion to, do that for yourself. But I mean, are you asking me what I'm hoping for? Was
I
that was
literally
that was
was
that
just
the
gonna
okay.
say, as we're about
Okay.
to land this plane, Justin, that is literally what I'm asking.
Yeah.
What is Justin hoping for these days?
Yeah. That's a great question. And I think other people could ask themselves that too. I really just want to be proud of how I show up for myself and
Mhm.
for other people, not, not dependent on, can I reach, hundreds, thousands or
Mhm.
whatever, but just genuinely being authentic to
Yes.
myself and to be able to be authentic for other people too, instead of
Mhm.
just dependent on, what my vice was
Mhm.
external validation and good enough and all that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just being able to, I just hope I can look back and be proud of how I'm showing up today.
Well, I am hoping for you for that, and I see you doing that every day. You're doing that in your social feeds, but you're also doing it in terms of the examples that you are setting. So I will continue to hope with you for that, my friend. And is there that's a beautiful answer, by the way. Like, thank you. Is there one like little nugget like behind that answer that you're really hoping for? Like, even if it's something like little, like, is there something that you're hoping for that's specific?
That's a good question. I didn't rehearse this.
And
you know, I I
no
just
judgment, no pressure.
yeah, just that is really good. That
Mm.
is really good. I think just being proud of myself and loving myself
Yeah.
despite the money, the fame, the
Yeah.
status, not just being able to love myself and be proud of myself. Because
Yeah.
it may sound elementary, but that was
It's
that was
not.
really difficult for me.
It's not elementary. It's the peace. right? It's the piece of being
Yeah.
able, that missing piece that I think so many people don't have that degree of self-awareness to realize that they're, an expression that we often use is that you'll never have enough of what you don't need. So
Mm.
like we don't need that
Cool.
social approval. So there'll never be enough of it because it's actually not what we need. And there's these holes essentially in our hearts or in our psyche where we will constantly be trying to pour into these things and we'll never have enough of what we don't need. And the reality is we don't need that external validation. It's nice, sure, but it's not a need. It's more of a want. It's not a need. And the stuff that is genuine and real and like literally like the stuff that's been part of the human condition since we got here or how we are here, it's the real stuff. And that's the stuff when you get it, we feel like it's enough. So
Definitely. And being
yeah,
able to see like what you said, because
yeah,
I chased the carrot, and
yeah,
then when you realize that, dude, you already have the carrot.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's an illusion. It's an
yeah.
illusion. And so, I mean, that was just something that just hit me the last couple weeks. So I'm like, man, I just want to just keep this perspective and attitude and just keep
Yeah.
evolving and progressing and enjoy the process.
I love everything about that. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you, Justin, for joining me today. This has been a trip. I hope we can get you back. I've been looking forward to this conversation since we connected. So, again, thank you. I'll make sure to put all of the links to your material and to your books and to your website and your socials in our show notes so people can learn more about your work. And again, maybe there's some young motocrossers out there that are just like, I want to hear more about that side of it so they can find you.
Right.
And again, I just thank you for just showing up, for your vulnerability, for your strength, and just for you being you. The world needs way more Justin. So thank you.
That's a compliment. Thank you sincerely. That means a lot.
Awesome. Thank you for spending time with me on this episode of Life by Design. I appreciate if you have a moment to pay this forward, share it with someone who you think might benefit from the ideas shared in this episode. If you're feeling so inspired, please also rate and review the podcast wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Again, thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. Take good care, and I'll see you next time.